Okay. Oh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ESC Conor podcast. And we're live. We decided to change it up tonight and go lives to get your comments in live as we go along. And yeah, but today, more countries rehearsed, and I'm delighted to be joined again by Neasa, who joined me on last night's episode of the podcast. How are you, Neasa?
I'm good. I'm delighted you couldn't find another guest because I have nothing better to be doing this evening. And that is not a joke.
Well, it's good to have you back. Now, today we had more of the second rehearsals from 10 countries. We also had the big five, but we won't be discussing them tonight because we didn't actually see anything bar the 2 second TikToks. But today, taken to the stage. This is the bits of the podcast you don't actually see because we edit them. We edit them out. But,
Yeah.
today we saw Iceland, Norway, Armenia, Finland, Israel, Serbia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Malta, and San Marino take to the stage. As we did last night, we will go through each one by one, discuss everything, and then we'll give our bottom three and top three. So, Neasa, we'll kick it off with you. How did you think Iceland got on today?
I really love the costumes. I know that that's probably the last thing the average Euro fan will look at, but I think it's just there's something very cute about them. You can tell that there's a theme without there being too much thought put into it. It's just it's cohesive without being matchy, which I love. Like Portugal, I think it's one of those songs that needs very little in terms of staging to look great. But I think I wasn't too optimistic about it before today, but I think we might get both of them in the final. If we were to lose one, I think it still would be Iceland. But big improvements all around for them, and I think it's a lovely song no matter what other way you look at it. So I think they did good.
Yeah, today Iceland were very similar to their national final performance. You had the three girls in the middle of the stage dancing along with their guitars. You also had their brother who was on the drums, I think it was, in the background too. So real family reunion on the stage. But great performance by them. Will it qualify? I don't know. Like you were saying there, Portugal would be the other country that you kind of compare them to. Out of the two, I do think Portugal would be the favourite to go forward, but I definitely could potentially see both of them going through, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, any more comments about Iceland, or will we move on to the next country?
I think we're as well off to move on.
Brilliant. So next up today was Norway, and of course, Subwoofer with "Give That Wolf a Banana" brought a lot of energy to the stage. They had a very similar performance to the national final at MGP, just elevated really. They had more lights, more pyrotechnics, and yeah, they really elevated this for the Eurovision stage. It's a certain qualifier, in my opinion. I just don't see how this doesn't qualify. Televoters will love it. The jury potentially will, mark it down, but I think this will be definitely potentially top three, top four with the televote. That's it. What do you think?
I love it, but I don't know why, if that makes sense. It's usually when I'm very much a purist when it comes to Eurovision most of the time. If a joke act is kind of coming through, I tend to do the very thing of looking at it like, oh God, no. But it works. I feel like if these novelty acts are done in the right, it's about kind of intention and context. So there's some joke acts that you feel their purpose is to take off Eurovision and to kind of put a more not insulting, but they're slightly making fun of it. Whereas I think Norway has kind of struck that line where yes, it is a novelty act and yes, it is quite wacky, but it still maintains that respect for the contest, which I love to see it. I wouldn't be mad if it qualified. I think it's a great injection of fun into the semi final, and I definitely think it will deserve the place that it undoubtedly will have in the finals. So I think as a joke act goes, I'm fine with it, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely, and I do think as well. Even though some people you were there you were saying joke act, but I don't think it's trying to be anything. It's not trying to be serious. It's not trying to be jokey in a way. I think it's just fun, brings the energy. It's not slagging off the contest in any way. It's just there as a fun act that people will enjoy and hopefully people will get behind. So it'd be interesting to see how well it actually does on the night. I know one of our fellow Irish cousins, Michael, he is quite worried about how well how well it would do, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think it would be lost. Not having it in the final would be very, very boring. Well, you need a bit of fun, like where you can't
Ah,
just have
yeah.
seriousness on. Like, I'd like give wolves bananas, like or give grandmas or who save your grandmas, whoever it is.
Yeah.
But
Just to be said though, I will never like a massive Death of Us fan for the national final. So it did take me a mourning period before I accepted Subwoofer, and I'm sure a lot of Norwegian kind of Eurovision fans are the same about that. But I think, what's done is done. We might as well accept it and try and have fun with it. So yeah, I think they're good.
In other words, you were telling yourself to get over it. Like,
pretty much, yeah. You can only be sad for so long about these things.
Exactly. So our final country, which was for the second rehearsals for the first semi-final. So we had 3 from the first semi-final rehearsal today, and that final country today was Armenia, who was closing the show. It is Rosa Linn with the song Snap. Very, very cool staging. It's in like a bedroom on the stage, all made of like they look like sticky notes, but they're like paper towels that kind of come off the wall. She peels them back to reveal lyrics and logos. Like there was a heart, there was the lyrics Snap, there was the date June 22nd, which is obviously sung in the song. There's a bed, there's a chair. She's very interactive with the room, which is really interesting. I kind of got Leslie Roy vibes off it in a way, just not the miniature-esque element of Leslie's performance, but definitely the interactiveness with the room and the kind of, she's not performing to the audience. It's very much a television performance. Some people are saying that the audience do actually see what's happening, but I don't know if that's 100% sure just yet. But it is definitely a performance for the TV. At the end, the room spins around and she peels back a big section of the wall, which is like a circle in the wall, and then that's peeking out into the audience, and she's performing out with like lights and stuff like that. Really cool performance. Rosa's her singing, whatever you call it, vocals are amazing, so I wouldn't be too worried about it qualifying. I think it's a safe qualifier. But Neasa, what did you think?
I am going to take a very opposite view of it. I have no massive opinions towards the song. I think kind of like Croatia, for me it's just there, and I know a lot of Euro fans who really love it, and I think it's a decent song. I don't like the staging. I really don't. You mentioned Leslie there, and I feel like this falls for a similar reason. I think the lack of color is a big problem because they had such a thing. Like the fact that the logos that we're seeing, and obviously I'm only seeing the 45-second clips. I wasn't aware of the bit at the end. The fact that the logos are in black, the stage is in white, she's in white, and then she's got that beige top. Like Penny's released a neutrals collection there recently, and I think the costume has to have come from there. But I think it's just like there's Armenian office supply shops that are absolutely their orders have gone through the roof. So I mean, she's helping the economy in that way. But I just feel like there was such an opportunity. The armchair could have been like a red velvet, I think, or like a pink, and then the outfit, she could have made herself the focal point, but instead it feels like she has made. I don't know. She could have really stood out in the set, but I feel like she's borderline blending in with the costume and the paper. And I just feel like a little bit more color could have made it so much more visually interesting. And as well as that, I don't know, the paper, it looks well, but it also looks very like arts and crafts. So like,
you gave a great description, and I'm gonna call you out because you gave a great description of this in the Cousins group chat earlier. And it was, I think it was you, and it was the wet paper toilet thing, as you know, in school. Here in Ireland, it would be very, I don't know, like other countries, but it'd be a very, funny thing to get a bunch of toilet paper wetted, and then it becomes like a rock, and you throw it at the wall, and it sticks there, and it's like concrete after like a week. But Neasa said that that's what the room looked like. And I wouldn't say it's the wrong description, to be honest.
I think kind of these more inventive stagings, they are so necessary for the contest. And I feel like this idea of the paper in a few years' time will be such a realized kind of vision that somebody will eventually win with this ingenuity of like paper staging. However, I think the 2 paper stagings that we've seen so far, I think their biggest problem is lack of color. And especially if you're not catering, I think there's this element of forgetting that it is in an arena. You need to cater for the audience that's there physically with you. So I don't know. I can see it qualifying still, but I can see a lot of people just kind of losing interest.
That's fair enough.
You're so mean. Oh my god.
Honest opinions with that. So we're moving on to semi-final 2, and the first country up for the second rehearsal was Finland. Jezebel by the Rasmus. Now Rasmus, of course, are a big band. They've had hits all around the world, and very famous. They of course won the Finnish Grand or National Final earlier in the year, and they're here to represent their country, Finland. Neasa, I know you're a huge fan of this song, so you can kick it off.
God help the two listeners of this podcast. They're going to be shouting at me because I tanked Armenia and then they are like Finland. They're going to hate me. I have a weird love for this song, and I know Finnish rock entries, like I said yesterday, 2006 was my first proper Eurovision. I'm partial to a bit of Finnish rock. The verses, take them or leave, I don't really care. But the chorus is quite good. But the vocals today, obviously, it was not it. Like we'll be honest. But now Conor has borderline ruined this for me. Because earlier,
don't blame me.
No. Earlier in the group chat, he made like a comparison between the yellow wax coat, the balloons, and the opening visual, and he made it sound like the killer clown, which I can't unsee it now. So thank you for that, Conor. I still love it, but now I'm slightly creeped out at the same time.
No, when you see the opening shot of the performance, you will totally understand what I'm talking about, because literally it opens and it's a dark shot, and then it's like zooms in on his face, and he's standing there in the jacket, the yellow jacket. It's all dark, and his head just appears, and he's holding a balloon, and he's like looking at the camera real, like in that exactly like the clown out of It, like it's identical, and that's why everyone's going about this It reference, because it is literally. It's on purpose. 100% were like, look, you look like that clown. Let's make that opening shot look like that, because it is 100% on purpose. So you will get it once you see the full performance. I don't think they wanted the whole performance to be that It kind of factor in it. I think it's just that opening shot, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, vocally today that was atrocious, like really, really bad. Each run through it got worse. In fairness to them, the clip that they released on the YouTube channel was okay. It was decent, but everything else, it was awful. It's the staging as well. Funny enough, the staging is done by the same fella that did Leslie's staging last year, Frederick Friedman or whoever that is. But yeah, he did their staging too. So yeah, I don't know. I worry for Finland. I thought I would have had them as a safe qualifier, but I don't know. Potentially, the name, the Rasmus will get them through. But I don't know. We've said that before about other famous artists in Eurovision, and look what's happened. But yeah, I'd be worried for Finland. Do you still have hope for them, or?
If the vocal can improve, I think they'll be fine, because it is such a lively song. But like with the song that's coming up next, like with Israel, that will either kill them or save them. Because Michael Ben-David today, he was magnificent, and like I know a lot of people again will be like, oh my god, what's this one about? It's just it's that the running order is affecting songs, I think, more in this semi-final than it was in semi-final 1. So it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think the running order plays a big factor in this. And as you mentioned there, next up is Israel, and that is Michael Ben-David with the song I Am. And I do think that his performance absolutely will kill Finland vocally as well, when you compare the two. If let's say it was a more slower song, let's say like we had Croatia next, for example, or who else, maybe Georgia example, you could say, okay, the vocal isn't too bad, but because his vocal is so good in this song and so powerful, it shows up Finland's vocal so much. But back to Israel anyway, it lives up to exactly what it is, that kind of the sassness and all that kind of stuff. It's exactly what it says on the tin when you listen to the studio. It's exactly what it is live. The staging's cool. They use the LED floor a lot, because obviously the sun in the background can't be used. So I Am appears on the floor, and his dancers as well, they're on the floor as well. Quite polished, good performance. Every run through is exactly the same. I think he's resting his voice a bit as well, because some of the notes he kind of took breaks with and stuff. But yeah, I think this is going to qualify now. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Maybe the jury might tank it a bit, but I still think this will be qualifying.
I definitely think so as well. It's kind of giving me like El Diablo vibes from last year, with like the white costumes, the writing on the floor, the red. I know a lot of people don't like the song, and a lot of people think that it's very, like as you said, it's the sassiness that it's kind of love it or hate it with that song. But I challenge you to play this song in a nightclub full of Euro fans, and they will not bop the shit out of it. So they will. It's going to qualify. Like, there's no point saying otherwise.
You're
at this point.
channeling your inner Israeli club. Remember the
Exactly. We'll have to have like a live ESC Conor podcast night where I will just play this and just see what happens. It'll be a bit of crack.
Yeah. I think it's important to say as well, I loved this not loved this thing, that might be a bit far, but I appreciated more pre-revamp. That drop that I used to have was much better than the current one, but it still works. It still works. Right, up next was Serbia in Corpo Sano by Constructa. Neasa, you can kick this off.
Okay, I'll be honest, I did not get this song at first. I didn't understand it. I thought it was, the way that there's always that one quirky Eurovision song that fans would really grasp to, and that to the point where you're kind of like, are they messing with us at this point? But I had it explained to me by one of the cousins the other night, and it's, once you know the meaning behind it, it takes on a whole entirely level. I thought the red in the staging and just the intensity of her gaze, like it's pushing the message really well. However, it is falling victim to the fact that there's a lot of, like, I don't want to say gatekeeping, but there's a lot of fans on like Twitter who are like, oh, you'd love it if you understood the meaning, and then proceed not to explain it. But once you have it explained to you, it does take on that meaning. However, will the average fan watching cop that at all? Probably not, I'll be honest. I really hope it qualifies though. I really think it's for the message it has. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not even explaining the message. But I'm doing things like, I understand why they fall into this trap. To give the very summarized version of the message, and please correct me if I'm wrong. It's about Constructa's friend who passed away from cancer because there's an issue in the Serbian healthcare where artists can't get health insurance in the same way that people with more like stable careers would have. And it's kind of like this metaphor of she has to trust her body because she can't trust the state. And again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I just think that when you know that, it's brilliant, but most people won't know that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like you at first, well, even now, I still don't like this song. I just can't connect with it at all. I understand the meaning of it, and it's a lovely meaning, but like you said, I think the average viewer won't understand that. I don't think, unless it's being, heavily told to commentators and broadcasters, please explain the meaning of this to people at home so they do understand it. But I can see the likes of Graham Norton or Rylan on BBC Three or the semis, Marty Whelan. I can see the likes of them taking the piss out of this a bit, without knowing the meaning behind it, which is unfortunate because, like you said, it does have a deep meaning and it is quite a serious topic. So that's unfortunate. But for me, I just don't like it, unfortunately. And I don't see it in my final. I do think it will qualify because it will, for the people that do get it, they will support it as much as possible. But for me, I don't see it in my final. But I do think it will qualify. But yeah.
Be prepared for some angry DMs in the morning, Conor.
I appreciate that. I know they're quite passionate, but yeah, look, they moved up in the odds today. I think they're in the top 10 to win. So
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I think they moved up.
I mean, Serbia did have one of the best winners of all time, so True. If they win again, I wouldn't be mad at it. I think that I'm making myself feel old now. I was 7, I think, when they won last time. But I think they're I love that song. We'll move on. I'm going to rant again if we start talking about Serbia. So we'll continue.
Just a quick one on Serbia. Do you think because obviously the UK and Ireland are in this semi, do you think the UK and Ireland will throw points to this song at all? I
feel like the majority of the votes for this song will come from kind of Central Eastern Europe. I love Irish, but like, the English and the Irish locals and the UK locals, they're their own breed. Like, I don't know if they're going to get this.
No, I don't think so. I think realistically, like you said, the most points will be coming from neighbouring countries and Eastern countries and all that kind of stuff. But next up, speaking of Eastern countries, we're going to Azerbaijan next, and this was a very, very powerful ballad. Great performance. It was by Nadir, Rüstəmli. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Sorry. Fade to Black was the song, and yeah, a very dramatic stage in 2 kind of staircases. that split at the end of the song. For me, the last 40 seconds is where the song really, really grows and is at its best, because vocally it's a brilliant moment and the lights are flashing and the pace builds up. The rest of the song is quite boring. His vocal is very raspy. Maybe he's just, it's just because he's tired or something like that. I don't know, but not a mad fan of this song. Neasa, you said to me that I was being quite brutal on Twitter.
You were, I mean, look back at that thread and you were saying, you were going for blood on a few of them. And you were like, I don't think I'm being that mean. And we were all just there like, oh my God, was he always this brutal? If you had told me that I would enjoy... At points, I don't think you saw it. There was one particular tweet that I must read out later because it was pretty out there. If you had told me this morning that I would enjoy 40-something, well, I'm going to presume that he's 40-something. If he's not, I'm sorry. If you had told me...
22. He's 22.
Whoops.
I'm just going to confirm this. Wait, Nadir... He's born July 8th, 1992. Or 1999. Making him 22 years old.
He is less than a year older than me. Oh, that's more of a reflection on how old I feel. But oh my God.
I can't believe you thought he was 40.
I mean, I think it was the beard. Again, this was a song. I'm going into these semifinals a lot less aware of things than I was last year. But I'm going to rejig my sentence, but say it the same way. If you had told me that a 22-year-old man lying in a fetal position on the floor, singing his heart out would be something I would enjoy, I would have laughed at you. But I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was before today. I just don't understand why it has
elevated. It has elevated, definitely.
Like, we've had 2 years of a pandemic. Should he not cop that the floor is not the place you want to be lying?
Jesus.
Like, I'm just saying.
No, good point. I think it is good staging for the song, but I think it is going to qualify it. But like I said in my tweet, I just don't think it's deserving. I don't think it's a good enough song to be in the final. Do you know what I mean? I think there's better songs that would be a better show, but look, that staging's so important for these songs. But yeah, no,
I think that it's such a high-powered year that there's going to have to be some balance in the final. Now, obviously, it's funny. Poland, we haven't seen much of them yet. They're tomorrow, aren't they?
Yeah.
They'll either clash off each other or help each other. But I think if we were to lose one, it would be Azerbaijan. I think Poland would be the... Now I'm saying Poland. I'm not saying a Polish stand by any means this year. But I'm just saying that it's the more memorable of the two.
Yeah, definitely. Georgia is next up, and this was Circus Mircus with the song "Lock Me In." This was an acid trip. This was
Are you speaking
chaos.
from experience?
No, I wish.
ESC Conor admits to doing acid on his podcast. I can see the tweet already.
Yeah, no, this was absolutely chaos. This was they show us 3 performances. They get 3 run-throughs in the 20 minutes that they did. So even on the Eurovision Hub stream today, Julia had to turn it off too because it was just too much. One run-through was enough for people. It was absolute madness. It's very colourful, as you saw in the rehearsal clips that was released. They have like lips on the LED screens. They have the fella. This band is really weird because apparently there's loads of members, but not all of them are actually taking part in Eurovision. And even today, some of them were doing the interviews in the press center, but some of them were performing. Some of them were missing. It's really weird. It's a fuck up of a song, and it matches the vibe that they're going for at the moment. But they have like LED screens with like the lips, and then it's like blue and then pink, and then one of them looks like Willy Wonka on the main stage with the glasses. There's a really cool moment actually. One of them's holding a box, as you'll see. That box opens to reveal like miniature them, basically miniature people in like dancing, playing in the box. They're not like graphics or anything. It's like paper men, but it's cool. It's a cool moment, but this isn't qualifying. this shouldn't qualify. It's a total mess, but it's a moment. It's a moment. Neasa, go ahead.
I know this song has its fans, and the staging is completely batshit, and I love it. But I love it, but I don't. That kind of way. It's like I get it, I love it, but don't be in the final. if any other country had sent this song with this staging, they would be getting slaughtered. Like if Ireland sent this, we would be bullied off Twitter.
True.
So I love how Georgia gets that pass. Like, oh, they're trying something different, good for them. But I just don't think it's fair that if anyone else sent it, the shitstorm that would follow would be insane. And that's the reason I don't like it. Sorry, Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce is gonna come for you.
It's okay. I have to accept it, but I have to speak my truth here, you know?
True. So next up was Malta, and this was Emma Muscat with I Am What I Am. Neasa, you can kick it off.
Oh, I'm gonna alienate some more cousins here. It's very Disney Channel. I'm not going to say whether I think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's like if Je me casse was produced by Disney Channel. It's gold. She's wearing a dress. She's wearing shoes. She looks great. It's
choreography.
There's dancers. Would you believe she's at the Eurovision Song Contest? God bless her. Like Disney Channel. That's it.
Yeah. You know, it is very junior Eurovision, not in a good way. I had high hopes for this actually after the TikTok of the first rehearsal. I was like, that actually looks all right. It's not too bad. Oh, today it was painful to watch. It was, I don't know. She's at the piano. There's some nice shots. She's one of the performers that is affected by this sun malfunction because there's clearly meant to be a lovely sun behind her, and it's just an eclipse. But it looks all right. It is. It's not the end of the world or the end of the sun. But isn't
that not what the end of the world is going to be? Are we not told
probably,
that? Yeah. Eurovision predicted. No, oh god, I'm not even going to manifest that. That is.
Oh my god! Don't put that into the universe.
I hope not. I'll blame Emma Muscat. I'm kidding. No, she seems lovely. Like, we'll be nice to her.
You know, but the opening shot, it's like it zooms down on her on the piano, or not on the piano, but playing on the piano. Then she gets up onto the piano and dances for a little bit, and then she comes down, sings in the middle of the stage for a bit, and then during like the bit where it's like I am what I am, blah 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 blah, she like comes down and is joined awkwardly by two dancers for some random reason, and then comes out onto the B stage, and then the pyro goes off and they're all dancing, but the choreography doesn't match. It matches the song, but it just feels like it shouldn't be there. It's like, why are you dancing? And like you said, it's Disney Channel done badly. It's like it's like a parody of High School Musical in a way. It's like, why would you bother doing that? But I don't know. It could. I really love
how you start the podcast every day before the podcast, or like I say every day. This is my second time here. Before the podcast, Conor's like, now we have to be nice. Like, you know, there's a line, and he's like, oh, it's like a shit High School Musical line.
No, I say I say don't offend. And I don't think that's offensive.
Well, some of the things I have said some of the things I've said off air are probably awful, but like I've never called it a shit High School Musical.
I didn't say she's shit. I said the performance is shit. She's brilliant. Her vocal's great, but
she's fine, but her entire year's work, not it.
Exactly.
I'm just quoting you there now before any Maltese people come for me. I really want to go to Malta. I know Conor has been to Malta. Lovely place.
Oh, you need fucking good knees because those hills in Malta will wreck your knees.
Speaking of good knees, I think it's about time we move on to the highlight of the day, in my opinion. I'm so proud of that. San Marino, Achille Lauro, my absolute love. I said it at the end of the podcast yesterday. I was like, he is the one I am most excited for. And what did he do? He proved me right. Oh, I love it. I think the velvet bull, the outfit. I mean, oh my god, I'm obsessed. Like, I was always not obsessed with the song. We'll be honest, okay? But I love Achille Lauro. Achille Lauro could hit me with his car and I'd probably still be excited.
Well, if the grandmas weren't eaten by wolves earlier in the show, they will certainly be mentally scarred by this performance. It is chaos. Like,
but in a good way.
I don't even know. Like, I'm still like trying to process this because it's just mental. It's really, really cool though. You can tell that San Marino hasn't staged this. You can tell that Rye has influenced this a lot, because there's no way that San Marino could come up. But then again, we have had some wacky performances from San Marino.
I'd
We've
say
had
it's just
Robot and
Achille
stuff.
himself, to be honest. Like, we've seen him at Sanremo, and like at Sanremo, there's very little opportunity to do much of a staging. But like, we've had him in the wedding dress, we've had him with the Harlem Gospel Choir, and the baptizing. We've had him nearly take off his pants at the San Marino national final. We've had him come out in the remember he had the like roses coming out from his skin. Like, I don't know. I just think he's great.
Oh, it's mental. Like the opening shot's really cool, because it has like it's like an LED screen of sorts, and it has like graphics of like arms rising up and rising down with like red and white. Then the screen opens and Akiti walks out in the jumpsuit with the furry neck thing, whatever you call it, the balls. I'm just trying to go over it in my head. I'm just like, what the fuck? What did we watch? Yeah, people were worried that the ball's gone. The ball is still there, it just is revealed at the end, and he gets on it, and then it's mad shit. If Georgia was asked, this is something similar, because this was just mental. Like, I didn't even know where to look. At times, because it was just mind blowing. But Jesus, I don't know. Neasa, help me here.
Okay, the smoke, the outfit. I mean, the dancer or like the guitarist. I don't know. It's just so on brand him. I cannot wait to hear like the more generational commentators such as Marty Whelan trying to explain this, because oh my god, I showed like family members clips earlier, and they're like, what? Like, I love it. It's so what I expected, but not what I expected at all. But one thing I really love about it is the fact that the camera kind of goes away from him for a second when he's mounting the like mechanical bull, because it's very hard to look hot while getting on one of those. I know from experience. You're there and you're like pulling yourself up on it, and it's really awkward. So, he knows his angles. That's why the camera pans away there, I'd say. But like, oh my god, it's a definite qualifier. I could see San Marino do very well out of this. I love how he was like, Italy don't want me in Eurovision. Fine, just gonna go my own way. I love him, and I could see this being a thing in future where Sanremo artists start going for San Marino. Like, you could see La Represent. I can never pronounce their name quickly. Yes, you could. I could see you could see them going in future. You could definitely see this being like a mini Sanremo in years to come, where it's just like a lot of Italians, which I'm not mad at. So, love it.
So that was the final country of the day. San Marino wrapped it up for us. We also had the Big Five rehearsing this afternoon, but of course we only see TikToks of those, so we will be discussing those at a later date on Saturday when they do their second rehearsal. But Neasa, let's talk about our bottom threes of the day now. So kick it off with your first bottom country.
I think
really wrong.
Careful now. We won't mention anything else about that. No, I think Armenia for me. It's just okay. I know it's really controversial, but the lack of color, like the idea was beautiful, but the execution without the color, it just, not to give another weird analogy, but in schools in Ireland, and that's such a random one, but those blinds, the vertical white blinds that when they shadow it looks like prison bars. That's what I think of.
Okay. It's really random, but
I will post a picture on Twitter of this specific blind for Conor to like put up, just so that you can get an idea. But I don't know, it gives me like Rosa Linn from The Office decided to do Eurovision and she raided the cabinets before she went.
Okay. Jesus. Okay.
Who's your first bottom?
My first bottom of today would probably be Georgia, I guess. Just I didn't really have any high expectations for them, but yeah, it was just, actually I did. I wanted more chaos. I know I said it was very chaotic, but I wanted more chaos. I think it's simple chaos, but it needs to be more chaos. I want to go on more of an acid trip than it already.
You have no idea what you want, my love, because literally you're like, Kitty, too chaotic, and Georgia is not chaotic enough while being too chaotic.
But they need to be in the middle somewhere. Keely should give them some tips. That's what that needs to happen. What the
Oh, I
hell
thought you
was
said
that?
something else there, and I'm gonna tell you off air what I think you said.
Oh, God. I worry for that now. My second bottom of the day would probably be Malta. I think Malta would probably be my second of the day. I just from that TikTok, I expected more. I thought it would be more perfect than it was, but it was just, it's just all right. I thought that they could potentially be in a qualifier with it, but I'm thinking more so now. It's not going to qualify. But yeah, no, Malta for me would be my second. What about you?
I would agree with you there. I think it's for the voice that she clearly has. They could have done so much more in terms of a song. They could have done so much more in terms of a staging. They could have just done more. Shout out to our cousin, who is undoubtedly going to murder me for that opinion. So it was nice knowing y'all.
So, Neasa, who is your top disappointment or your most disappointing country today?
Everyone's going to expect me to say Finland, but I'm not. I don't think they disappointed me yet. They will, though. I think Georgia, I just feel like I wasn't expecting much and I'm still disappointed. Like, it's just, I get what you're saying about more chaos. I just feel like there needs to be more cohesion in terms of the chaos. Like, the whole lock me in, I think, to go for very literal staging, I think it'd be really cute if there was like a massive padlock on stage and they were just running out the keyhole, like something, it's literal, but it'd be fun,
Yeah.
Like through the keyhole, keep lemon, but like, Georgia. I don't know. Maybe that was the first thing that popped into my head, and it's still arguably nearly better than what they did.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So my number one disappointment today probably be Finland. I just looking back at the countries, like none of them, I was like, I had overly like high expectations for them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Finland. I just thought the vocals were atrocious. I expected more from the staging, especially after last year Blind Channel. That staging was amazing. I just expected a bit more from it. I don't get the balloons. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. Neasa, your first of your top three.
First of my top three, and oh my god, I'm going to get so cancelled over this. I love Israel, and I got flack earlier in the season for being like, I actually don't think it's too bad. I think, he's a performer, and he's so, like, the pre-parties and everything, he was always so polished, but this is coming out so strong where nobody expected it to. And, I know we still have a lot of like semi-final 2 to see, but he could take someone's place of like somebody that we thought was going to be a definite qualifier, because I can't see the final without him in it, because there's going to be a lot of people that really love the song, and the staging is just it's just giving what it needs to.
In fairness to what you said there about the national finals, I do think he only did one. So there's not.
I'm sorry, I didn't go to any, so I wasn't really keeping an eye on them, unlike Mr. LEP over here.
It's Mr. COVID LEP by the way.
Cordelia Jacobs gave you COVID, be grateful.
Exactly. I'm like, I can share that. The Eurovision winner
That's a blessed COVID.
Gave me COVID. But my first of my top three would have to be Armenia. I'm gonna go for Armenia. I really liked the song going into Eurovision. I thought it was really nice. I think it's in my top 5. I think I have it second on the scoreboard, but I think that's just me trying to give it more points. But it is definitely in my top 5. The staging, I'm not overly enthusiastic about the staging, but I do think it's cool. And once she gets more rehearsal time in terms of hitting her markers and all that, I think it will come together, especially with an audience as well. That final moment will become more of a moment than it already is. So yeah, no, I was going to say Norway. Armenia is my first of my top 3. My second going, not my first, but not my second, because that is what second's meant to be. Would probably be. I know I'm doing so well. You can tell I haven't prepared for this now. My probably second of the day. Toss it between 2. I would probably say Israel, because, like you said, I think everyone kind of expected it to be a non-qualifier, but it delivered like it is what it is, you know, not to quote Emma Muscat here, but like it is what it is. You know what I mean? It plays into exactly what it's not trying to be anything else. It's exactly what it is. It's the SAS performance that everyone expected, and he does it brilliantly, and he delivers it, and it was one of the memorable ones of today. And I do think it's gonna go to the final. But yeah, Neasa, you're number 2.
I think Serbia. I think the staging obviously is not much has changed. She still has her little wash basin, she has her soap, and she is giving it everything. I just think the red was the first new thing I saw today, and it really just, you know, she's given Rachel good in terms of face. She's just really, the intensity of it. It's like, I think somebody in Cousin said today that it felt like being part of a cult. No,
Yeah,
that's the performance,
definitely.
not the Cousins, even though Cousins can be culty enough at times. I just think, yeah, oh, careful now. I worried after that. I was like, oh, no. No, I think Serbia. It's just really, it's hypnotizing. There's no other. It's hypnotizing.
And you're number 1.
Guess. Not that hard.
No, it's of course San Marino.
Of course it is. I can't go on a rant about him again, but if he ever by any chance listens to this podcast, just know that I love you, Achille Lauro, and I'm here. I know I might like, I don't want to dox myself, but like, you can get in touch with the podcast. Conor will tell you exactly where to find me.
Jesus Christ.
Not in that way. I'm not like here. I'm not using this podcast as Tinder in any way.
Yeah, no, because it's definitely not going to attract that kind of audience, I don't think.
We never know. Who's your top of the day?
My top of the day, it's the same as you, San Marino. Yeah, it was.
My propaganda has worked.
It has worked. I do have to laugh though, as like you said earlier at the end of last night's podcast, you did say, "Oh, Achille Lauro tomorrow will be brilliant," and I was like, "What? No, never. What the hell?" But yeah, no, you were right. It was the top of the day. It was the most memorable of the ones. There was nothing today that would have stood out. Like going into it, I think I should have, called it, because San Marino is the big sore thumb amongst these 10 countries that we got to see today. So yeah, definitely San Marino is the top one for me. But
yeah, who are you most excited to see for tomorrow?
Oh, I think it's obvious. It has to be Ireland. Just to see it with camera angles as well, especially as well, that LED floor. Not a lot of people have been using it because obviously, like we said, the sun in the back does not work. So they have been reliant on other
Really?
aspects.
I haven't heard that online.
No,
it's not like everyone is talking about it. No.
Yeah, no, so Ireland tomorrow, definitely I'm excited for. I'm excited to see Cyprus as well, because the shell, see with camera angles, because it does look like she's going to be in the same position for the whole entire song, which worries me, but obviously camera angles will be important in helping that. But, and of course Sweden as well, to see how that has translated from the Melfest stage to Eurovision. Obviously it's identical by the looks of it, but just to see on a bigger stage, will it have the same impact as it did? I'm sure it will, but we'll have to see. And Czech Republic as well. They close tomorrow. Interested to see how that translates too, because I love the song. Vocally, it's been worrying, but we'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow's a brilliant day. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's probably my favorite day of all the rehearsals so far, because it has a good run of countries that I actually like. if you get
and you heard it here first, everyone. ESC Conor just told semi-final 1 in the first half of semi-final 2 where to shove it. I'm really excited for Cyprus tomorrow. I don't feel like it's a song that she necessarily needs to move around a lot for, but I'm really excited. I'm excited, obviously, for Brooke. I don't know if we're going to qualify. We might be overly optimistic, but like, everything is a step up at this point for us. And I'm really excited for Cornelia tomorrow. Conor knows the first time I listened to that song, I am not a Melfest person, I'll be honest. And Conor made me listen to it in his car once, and I nearly cried. So I like the song.
I was collecting her.
Yeah, literally. We were going to see Barbara Pravi from last year, an absolute darling of a woman. And Conor was like, now I'm sure anyone who follows Conor is like, he likes Cornelia. He doesn't hide the fact. But he was like, have you listened to Hold Me Closer? And I was like, no. And he's like, are you going to? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you have to. And then he put it on. And I was like,
it on.
And I was just there like, oh my God, what is this? It's so good. So yeah, if Sweden take our record this year, it's the only Cornelia is the only person I would allow to do it. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, Neasa, once again, thank you so much for joining me on the ESC Conor podcast. Oh, we have a comment. Multiple. I think that's Adam M. That's Adam M.
Oh my God.
See Sweden and Ireland. Well, we can show. This is.
Oh, okay.
Can't wait to see Sweden and Ireland. To be honest, it's really all about the camera angles with the sun not working personally. Very, very true. Very, very true. I think Sweden, I don't think suffers as much as Ireland if you're comparing the two. I think Ireland, whether or not they were going to use the sun, I think they probably were, because you could see the fill bit on the one that we can actually see the bit that is spun around for the LED bit. But yeah, interesting. Neasa, any thoughts on that comment?
Cornelia was smart because she brought her own sun, you know? And I just want to say it. I know a lot of people are giving out about the sun and a lot of heat is being thrown Rye's way. I don't necessarily think it's all on them. I know there was a tweet put out earlier that said it was just to the timings. But at the end of the day, and I don't know if I said this yesterday, I'm probably repeating myself, the EBU is in charge of Eurovision. They should be the ones to be in charge of fixing things when things go wrong. It shouldn't, like, host broadcasters aren't going to have the experience of putting a show on of this scale. So it's up to the EBU to be there to guide them and not just throw them to the wolves. That's just my opinion.
You're very much a Rye sympathizer, aren't you? I know, because obviously you're an Italy stan. You love Italy. So
well, like, I mean, Rye has delivered on the interval acts going to be amazing. The actual concepts so far have been amazing. I know, like, the tickets and stuff have been dodged, but, like, that's the way things are sometimes. I feel like, you know, technically last year the Netherlands did have 2 years to prepare, whereas, like, Rye have a year, which is, like, the average amount of time, but then they're running on, like, Rye time, which is, like, you know, if you've watched Sanremo, you know that Rye time is nowhere near regular time. So I think it was up to the EBU to call a halt to this, because, you know, they're leaving the Italian delegation out to the wolves, and, like, could you see Mahmoud and Blanco suffering on account of that? Possibly. I hope not, but you never know what'll happen.
We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But sure, well, I only got 5 days to go until the show kicks off. So
I can't believe it. It's flying by.
Flying by, 100% flying by, and we can't wait for it to kick off on Tuesday night. But Neasa, thank you so much again for joining me on the podcast for another episode.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
You're grand, don't worry. Welcome always.
You say that now.
We didn't. You had to run off last night, so people didn't get to see where they can follow you.
So yes. I actually don't know my Twitter handle off by heart, so Connor has me tagged somewhere. I don't tweet much. I'm not that interesting, but sure, give us a follow anyways. I might do something fun in the next 6 months or so. You never know.
Keep talking and I'll find it.
Perfect. Oh god. Okay. I think my Instagram is Neasa.16, but that's like I just doxed my personal account there. Oh my god.
There we go.
Taking a hole here. Okay, perfect. It's Neasa1623 on Twitter.
That's your alarm code.
What? I don't have an alarm.
Oh yeah, you said you don't have an alarm. Sorry.
Yeah, Connor was very shocked that, you know, him being a dub and all. But we're less. I'm just talking abject shite at this point. Hopefully he'll edit it out for the Spotify podcast. Thank you, because it's pretty bad as of right now. We're just literally talking to this here. If Adam's still here, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you so much to people who listened in at stages.
or the
one. People do listen to the podcast, so don't worry. People do listen to the podcast. I know we're up probably against like Wee and Alicia Michelle and Hope at the moment, so it's fine. But
if Suzanne Adams would send me a message, that would be my like.
John, get on to John. John will happily.
I don't know. She's done so much already. I don't want to be annoying.
But she's there reading the comments by I Swallow Cum, so I think you'd be fine. Don't worry.
Connor Devlin, did you just say that live on air?
Yeah, to our one viewer.
So, Adam, please tell me if that screen recorded. That's going to be my new ringtone.
No, Jesus, no. Right, goodbye.
Right, good night. Bye-bye. Are we still live?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Right. Goodbye.